morning sunshine, rocking the good time with all our friends. Easy and carefree, out in the summer breeze, loving at several banks for hours on end. Right about sundown, we lay on the ground, count on the stars as they come out one at a time. Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey everybody, I'm X Factor winner Tate Stevens, and welcome to the Sweet Life Podcast, where we talk about everything from music, sports, food, entertainment, and, well, just living the sweet life. All right, guys, today we're on with a buddy of mine. Guy is one of the best fishermen I know, he and his dad, which... If you guys know anything about crappie fishing, for sure, you're going to know the name Kevin Rogers. And so, yeah, Kevin, what's going on, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me. I love doing this. Nothing I love more than talking about fishing. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, man. This is going to be fun. Real quick, I know this is kind of personal for me as far as knowing your dad. Obviously, your dad built my house, and I used to frame for your dad years ago. And I went fishing with your dad just the other day. And I gotta say, I've never felt more like a charity case in my life than fishing with your dad. I mean, Are you there? I think we lost you.
I think everyone feel like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you lose me?
Yeah, you're back. You're back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like a charity case. We're boat to boat. I mean, we're handing lures back and forth from each other's boat. And he's, at one point, he was on the phone. And I'm directly across from him, and he's catching fish, and I'm not.
Yes. He has an ability to do that. I mean, he knows what he's doing when it comes to crappie fishing, for sure.
And it was a lot of fun. I was trying to learn as much, with the live scope thing, just having, being a new boat owner. I'm a new boat owner. I bought it last summer, and still trying to figure it out. But I got my live scope thing going, and he turned his screen around. He said, "Do you see this?" And I said, "I see that." And he said, "Well, then and I said, "Yeah, these are fish. I see them." And about that time, Steve, your uncle, started reeling one in. And I said, "There, he's just caught one. I just watched him catch it." And we just started laughing. I'm like, that's how close we were in boats. I mean, we were literally snugged up around this one little tree. And it was a lot of fun. It was a learning experience for me. But, man, I mean, your dad just sat there and they were crushing them. And I am not.
Oh, yeah.
I am not catching a fish. And he's like, "No, you'll get it. You'll get it. Just, and just keep doing it. You got And I'm like, "What are you doing? What kind of lure you have on there?" So he handed me 3 that he was using. So I tie it up and I drop it down. Kevin, we weren't 2 foot apart. I'm telling you, our baits weren't 2 feet apart. And he was, bap, he caught another one. Bap, caught another one. And I'm like, I still haven't caught one. I can see them. They're swimming around it.
Frustrating.
Oh, my God. Anyway, so that's my little story about my crappie fishing with your dad the other day.
If you think about the hours that he has spent in that boat, I mean, honestly, in his 6 years he's been alive, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So.
It was awesome because I was learning at the same time. I mean, obviously getting outfished 100%, but I was learning, watch him work the jig, watching it in the water work, and right. It was fun though. I had a great time. Anytime we go fishing's fun, but it's kind of like hunting for me. I can go sit in a tree stand and not really see much of anything, and I have a great time. So it's kind of the same thing, right. Being on a boat. But so you started. Now, obviously, your dad has been in the construction business for 100 years. I mean, that's kind of what he did. He was a carpenter, and then kind of got into the building side of it later on. Is that how you got in the construction thing? Did you just kind of doing the whole working with dad?
Him and both of my grandpas were both carpenters, and that's how I got into it.
Nice. So
kind of a family thing.
Well, that's awesome. So, okay, you told me the story the other day. We're going to talk about it right now too. When I asked, just we were talking about fishing and having boats and whatnot, and you told me this story, and I want you to tell them. 19 years old, you're fishing with a friend on their boat.
Yeah. He invited me to fish a bass tournament with him. He took me to Truman Lake, and he did it and do very well. And that wasn't the point. Who cares? I was just happy to be fishing in a tournament. But the experience I took from that experience, I would never be without a boat after that day. I wasn't going to wait for someone to invite me to go fishing.
Right.
So I went and worked side jobs. I did side jobs after I worked my regular 40 hours a week, and I saved enough money and I bought a bass boat when I was 19. And here I am, I'm 48, and I've had one every single minute since then. It's just it's been a great passion. That was a bass boat. Before that, of course, we fished in John boats and aluminum boats. That's how I was raised, fishing out of aluminum boat with just an electric trolling motor on it. But that was my first bass boat at 19. I think I'm on number 24 now in my life, and I get a new one every year. So now I'm kind of spoiled.
Yeah. So now you're running a Bass Cat, right? That's what you're in now.
Yeah. I get a brand new Bass Cat every year. I told my wife, I said, all I've ever wanted in my entire life was a brand new truck and a new boat, and I didn't care what I lived in. I didn't care if we lived in a pole barn, as long as I had a new boat and a new truck. So I guess I've made it. I've made my goal in my life.
You've achieved it. You're at that point.
I got there.
Well, that's awesome, man. So at 19 years old, now are you doing carpentry work then also? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I joined the union right out of high school. I didn't think I had a scholarship to go play football. I went to summer camp and realized I was not the fastest kid in the world like I thought I was, right? I think that's not for me. So I actually joined the Carpenters Union in Kansas City and worked as a carpenter for the company I actually own now, which is bizarre. So
that is bizarre.
It doesn't happen very often. You start as a union carpenter, and now I get to be the owner and CEO of this company that I started with.
Well, that's cool, man. That is awesome. So now high school, obviously fishing with your friends and dad and everybody, going as much as you can, working, doing the construction thing. So how did it, were you a bass guy, or you just strictly, or did you crappie fish, catfish? Did you kind of do all of it, or was it one or the other? Where were you at then to lead you to where you're at now?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I was infatuated with bass fishing. Watching Bassmasters on television, I think it was on the Nashville Network back then. Even I would wait and for Bassmasters to come on. I just loved it. I got the magazine in the mail. The lures intrigued me, so I was all bass. I went and fished the amateur side of bass when I was 18 years old, and my dad kept begging me to go fish crappie tournaments, and I said, no, I'm a bass guy. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And my wife says, go shut the old man up and go fish a crappie tournament with him. Well, I did, and we ended up winning the thing. And then next thing you know, 30 years later, we've toured all over the country fishing crappie tournaments together. We've won 33 crappie tournaments in 5 different states. So I was originally a bass guy, and I turned into a crappie guy because of my father. And that's been our last 30 years. I mean, we made a career out of it. It was fun. It wasn't a career. It was still a pastime, but man, we had a lot of fun. Touring around, be inside, in the passenger seat was my dad for 30 years, going to all these different lakes and states. And It was amazing. It was a great bonding experience for both of us. And we learned, said, who taught you to crappie fish? Well, my dad did, but we learned together how to win tournaments together. So it was kind of cool. It was an awesome experience for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds, to me, that would be awesome, just to be able to go and be with your dad. That's awesome. That a lot of people, obviously, a lot of us don't get that opportunity for whatever reason. Maybe dad doesn't fish, or dad only don't have a lot of time. But for you guys, that is awesome. That's a great story just in itself. Having that bonding and time with your dad that you'll never be able to, take that away, and that's cool. Plus, winning tournaments, that's fun. I mean, you're winning and never, that's got to be a cool thing. So,
And the tournaments, honestly, for us, were just an excuse to go fish somewhere that we would not go on our own. That's what the tournaments were for us.
Right.
So
now,
it was great.
Where have you found in the last 30 plus years, where have you found the best crappie fishing?
I'm going to say in Texas, where I'm sitting right now. I live about 10 miles from you, and I'm actually sitting in Texas right now because it's 6 degrees or whatever it is in Kansas City.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I got in my truck and got the heck out of Dodge, and I drove to Lake Fork. I think the best crappie fishing in the world, there's 2 lakes that I would recommend. One's Lake Fork in Texas, and that'd be springtime. And then in the fall, talking October, November, December, January, it would be Lake of the Pines, Texas. Those are the 2 that I would suggest you go to. If you wanted to catch a giant 3-pound crappie, it would be Grenada, Mississippi. It's tougher fishing, but there's absolute giants in that lake.
Yeah, you think about fishing and crappie fishing. If you get a 1.5-pound crappie, that's a really good crappie. I mean, that's a sandwich. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you got 3+ pound crappie. I mean, that's a tank. You hook into something like that, it's got to fight. It's got to fight more. I mean, like a bass almost, I would imagine. Right? Yeah. I've never caught a 3-pound crappie, but I mean, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it's hand-to-hand combat the way we do it. It's definitely more bass fishing than it is crappie fishing. Kansas City cold, but it was 31 to 35 degrees today here in Texas. I can barely feel my fingers. I caught 42 crappie over 1.5 pounds today by myself, crappie fishing. I actually caught 30 over 2 pounds.
See,
I sent you a picture of it, Tate. I know. It's incredible.
Yeah, I sent you the picture of the snow. You said, "Oh, this is just now." Right. Had 2 giant crappies in his hand. And I was like, "Oh yeah, roll right now. This is what I'm staring at out the window. It's snow.
Right. Horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible." So, man, here's the thing. So, as a avid outdoors guy, for me, fishing, I know people say like they can go fishing and it's therapeutic, right? And they can just sit there and fish, or whether it's bass fishing, crappie fishing, catfish, just waiting for a big old cat to hit your line. It's really not therapeutic for me. I'm really tense the whole time, and I don't understand.
Really?
I love it, and I love being out there doing it, but when I'm thinking about, okay, it's going to bite anytime. You know what I mean? For me, I get so amped up, like, okay, I got the right bait on. It's the right condition. The weather's perfect. It's partly overcasted. I'm sitting in some lily pads. I'm fishing a frog, or a spinnerbait or something, whatever I'm fishing. And I'm like, conditions are perfect. I'm doing everything right. So I am waiting. And when my bait gets back to the boat, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
So whiz it out there again, and I'm all amped up again. Oh, it's this one. Here it is. And nothing. And so, or if I miss one, most people hear it. When I miss one, so,
sure.
But man, was it Iconelli? He screams when he misses them.
He screams when he catches them. Yeah.
For me, is it therapeutic? I mean, can you get out there? Obviously, you own a big corporation now. You're the man. Everybody. If there's an issue, they got to call you. You have a ton of employees. There's tons of stress with that. As cool as that is to be your own boss, kind of, or be the boss, it comes with a lot of responsibility and stress. So is it therapeutic getting out, like today, being at Lake Fork? Is it therapeutic just ripping lips all day?
Absolutely. For me, yes. It's the only thing. If you asked me what I wanted to do, it would be that. It wouldn't be laying on the beach. It wouldn't be getting a massage or getting a pedicure or any of that. It would be feeling the bite. I'm always looking for the next bite. And I think that's where these hard fishermen or fishermen than just the weekend. I'll wake up in the middle of the night setting the hook. It's an addiction almost. So always looking for the next bite. To me, it was 31 degrees and a north wind at 12 mile an hour day. It wasn't pleasant out there, but it didn't matter because the fish were biting. I didn't even care how cold it was. It was my therapy time for sure.
Right. So, all right, man. So we're sitting. Let's say we're coming into the springtime. We're getting ready. Things are about to kick off here in about 2 months, probably. I'd say month and a half, 2 months, right? That end of March. When the fish, whether it's bass fishing or crappie fishing, when they start doing that pre-spawn kind of thing, and they're starting to get aggressive. Where do you want to be come that late March kind of that time period?
Location in the country?
Yeah.
Me?
Where are you going to be?
Yeah. I'd be at Lake Fork in Texas. Is where it would be. Yeah.
So I got to go there. I got to go to Lake Fork, Texas.
Yes. Yeah. You need to go, and we can put you right where the fish are, and it's unbelievable. And it's a different bite. It's not these crappie in Texas. I guess they're so pissed off at the world because there's 10-pound bass trying to eat them every day. They hit 75% harder than a crappie in Kansas or in Missouri.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. I gotta go.
It's addictive. It's addicting.
So I know. Okay. So you come out, you're winning. We're winning crappie tournaments, right? You and your dad and just you by yourself. Right. So you started going angler of the year, last year, 2 years ago?
We did that in 2016.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I took second place in the classic last year by myself.
Right. Oh, so okay, that's what it was. And so you're on top of the game. As a crappie fisherman goes, you're one of the guys. You're one of the heavy hitter guys, right? When you show up, when Kevin Rogers' boat's in the water, it's time. It's go time. People are like, okay, we're going to be playing for, third or fourth right now because he's in the game, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you find, I know that you have your own signature series line of fishing gear right now with Jinko as pole sponsors and all that. So I do have two. I have an 11-foot and a 13-foot jigging rod, Kevin Rogers edition. I do that. I have that.
I love it.
Yeah, not that I can use them or I know or I can catch a damn fish, but I have them, right? I look. Here's the deal, Kevin. I look like I know what I'm doing. All right, and I think that's a big part of it.
That's half the battle right there. It's half of it.
So how did you hook up with them? Is that a pole? Is that a brand that you used? And you were like, man, I need to reach out to these people. I'm winning. Did they reach out to you and say, hey, man, you're winning? I mean, I know how endorsement deals happen sometimes in different areas. In the music business, I know how they work. How does it work in the outdoor world? How does it work in the fishing world? How did you get hooked up with Jinko?
Well, yeah, and it's a crazy world, the outdoor world. You see all these bass guys, and what's nuts about it is, you have to win and you have to be good, but you're your own brand. Just like if you're a singer, let's say you're your own brand, right?
Absolutely.
And believe it or not, it is all social media. And that sounds bizarre. And you think about crappie fishermen, and there's not a lot of sophisticated crappie fishermen in the world. There's a ton of bass guys. You got Gerald Swindle and Kevin Van Dam and Ike and Ellen. You know them all.
Oh, yeah.
And you see them on social media. And there wasn't a lot of good crappie guys at it. And I kind of just took hold of that and grew my social media and was winning. So they just reached out to me and they said, hey, design anything you want. I said, anything I want, design it and put your name on it and you'll get royalties for the rest of your life.
Wow.
And that's exactly how it works. And so I designed the rod that I wanted to use. I designed a lead head I wanted to use, a hair jig, and a plastic bait from them. And they're just asking me, okay, what's next? It's that relationship with those guys. It's pretty amazing, actually, being a crappie guy. That doesn't happen a lot in the crappie world.
Right.
It happens a lot in the bass side, but not in the crappie world.
Now, so so if you go to Jinko and say, listen, or now, did you use any of their products before you?
No. I didn't use any of their products before. They were a fairly new company. They were probably only 2 years old when they came to me, so I knew of them. I'd heard of them, but I wasn't using any of their products. No.
Huh. So what were you using at that time before you started?
I was using Bobby Garland. Yeah, I was sponsored by Bobby Garland for, they endorsed me for 15 years,
right.
And they got sold out. They got sold out to a massive corporation, and that's when I bailed on them. At the same time, Jinko came to me, so It was a perfect time to switch.
Yeah, that's all. That kind of good timing there. So when you get to Jinko, now you're like, all right, man, this is how I need the pole to work. I want it to feel the action to be this, and the jigging. So here's the thing: like I used to crappie fish with my dad. We'd go to Truman, go to Bucksaw, and crappie fish and do really well. I mean, you catch enough fish to eat. You know what I mean? For a fish fry for our family. So were you using? I just used a regular 6 foot, 6'6", 6'10" pole. Could have been a Zebco, could have been a dial. I mean, who knows what it was back then? And a little either spinning rod or reel, with light tackle. I mean, is that what you did until? How did you come up with the jigging thing? And I'm sure it's been around. Obviously, cane poles and big long poles have been around forever. I just never was aware. Maybe it's just a technique that I was never aware of until just here in the last few years, and I saw those guys with the big jigging poles.
Yeah, it's been around a long time, and the idea of everybody thinks of crappie, they think of a little bitty short dock rod, a 6 footer, 4.5 footer. But the crappie guys, the real diehard crappie guys, the reason we used a longer rod before live scope was so we could reach out and get to the cover without spooking the fish, and that's where it came from. And we started using them in the 90s, and there wasn't a large variety of jigging poles. We actually started by using fly rods that were 9.5 foot long. That's what most crappie guys would use. And then the crappie companies caught up and started making these jigging poles. And now today in a crappie tournament, every single boat in the crappie tournament is using a 10 to 13 foot jigging pole. That's it.
So you with the jigging rod now. I got, like I said, I have an 11 and a 13 foot. The Jinko, your signature series, and so, I mean, it's truly feel, right? That's just a feel thing. Like I have I have a little G Loomis rig, and it's short, and if the wind blows, that thing bounces like I got a 10-pound bass on it, is the just using the jigging rod, and I've only been able to use it, a handful of times last year and now, because it's winter time here and it's 9 degrees and all the lakes are frozen over. I mean, if I was an ice fisherman, I'd probably be doing okay at this point here in Missouri. But were you using a jigging rod today, or were you using were you using a shorter rod? What were you using today when you were catching them?
Today was all the 11 footer. 11 footer was straight braid and just power fishing them. I mean, they're thumping it.
Huh. Now, do you like, is 11 your go-to, or you like the longer one, or is it just kind of depends on where they're at and how you have to get to them?
The 11 footer is what I use 100% of the time. The 13 footer, I thought they needed a longer rod. I use the 11 footer all.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna jump ahead just a moment, because I know if people follow you on TikTok, you've been bass fishing quite a bit and catching some giant smallmouth. Your dad was telling me that you were actually going to do some bass fishing tournaments this year, kind of laying into that. So what made, is it just because you love bass fishing and you just want to do it, or are you going to try to make that leap from crappie to bass guy?
I am making the leap. And here's why. It's because my dad retired, right? I mean, he's up in his upper 70s and driving 10 hours in a truck to get to where we're going fishing and fishing sunlight to dark. It sounds sexy and everyone thinks it's cool. It is exhausting.
Absolutely.
This fishing the way good, it's exhausting. And he's done. So he's done with his tournament life. He'll never fish tournaments again. He's never going to quit crappie fishing.
Right.
But with that, I'm going to go chase my dream, and I have signed up to fish the National Professional Fishing League. It's a brand new bass league that started this year. It's 125 anglers fishing for $500,000 at each tournament we get in. It's a $5,000 entry fee. I've made a huge investment into this thing. There's 6 tournaments all over the country, and I'm signed up. I'm one of the 125 guys in it, and I'm going to go see how good I can do with these bass guys. I'm excited. I've been doing this crappie so long. I still love it, but this is it's new spark. I got a spark for fishing again that it's hard to explain. I can't wait to go out and compete. Did I lose you? No, did I lose you?
I got you.
Sorry about that. I mean, sitting here at Lake of the Pines, there's not much I can. There isn't much out here.
Yeah, no worries. So you're on your when do they start? When does that tournament start?
My first one's in March at Eufaula, Alabama is my first one. So
now, are you fishing big? Are you guys fishing big lakes, the big heavy like Lake Fork? Are you fishing those big areas, those big bass lakes?
We're fishing like Eufaula, Alabama. We don't know about it because it's halfway across the country, but it's considered one of the best bass lakes in the world.
Nice.
We're fishing Harris. We're going to Pickwick Lake. There's just several lakes in there. Grand Lake is the closest one to us that we're fishing. But yeah, it's a big jump for me. But I'm excited. I can't wait to go compete against these guys and see if I can hang with these bass guys. I got a lot to prove being a crappie guy for sure.
Yeah, to me, I think I'm competitive, so like you, kind of a driven competitor. So that'd be a lot of fun. Kind of jumping. It's you're switching gears. Now you're running bass tournament. It's almost for me crappie fishing. It almost seems, and I could be completely wrong, but just knowing what I know about crappie fishing, it's you sit. You catch the fish, you sit, you catch the. You know what I mean? You're kind of you're not as mobile as some of these bass guys who are literally they'll run a bank and you're nonstop down that. You're either drifting or you got your trolling motor on go and you're moving water most of the time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be it's a different change, it's a different, but for me it's still fishing. It's still navigating a body of water, breaking it down, a place you've never been. That's the fun part for me. I love going to a new lake that I've never been to before, studying the Google Earth and the maps and all the fishermen. That's the fun part for me.
Yeah. I was when growing up fishing, like I said, with my dad, we had a boat. And going to Truman and Pomme de Terre and things like that around here fishing, it was always a lot of fun. Of course, we were cover fishermen. We'd find the cover and the stumps and the old trees and whatnot and fish those a ton. And where any kind of change in whether it was a bluff wall into more like a transition area into a more muddy bank. You fish that a ton and try to get those bass off those little flats and transition areas and stuff. It was always a lot of fun. And bass fishing for me has kind of been like, it's to me, topwater. I love topwater bass fishing. Right. And I'm not good at it. I want to be, I want to be real good at it, but it is fun. It is fun to go to a new, like I haven't been to a lot of the lakes and, fishing. So when we go to a lake, like we were at Hillsdale the other day, crappie fishing, it was kind of fun. Just kind of like, I've never been to that lake. I've never fished that lake. So for me, getting to learn that body of water, it was fun. Kind of, getting a lot. And live scope, okay, it's not cheating, but my God, it's kind of close.
It's not. It's real close. It's real close. But you still have to figure out how to make them bite. That's the thing. You don't just turn it on, they jump in the boat.
Right.
I think, yeah. And that's what everybody thinks. It's not exactly how it works. I mean, you have to figure out how to get the lure next to the fish, and then they have to bite the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I found that out just like I said the other day with your dad. I could see all the fish they were catching, and they just weren't. I wasn't catching those fish, and they were catching them, and I could see them. I'm like, no, I see that fish you just caught. I saw him. He looked at my lure, spun around, and bit yours. So, yeah, no, it's perfect. I mean,
we need to get you in the boat where you can actually see them, where I can put you on them and you can catch them. And then what it does, it just gives you confidence. You know what you're looking at. You just need to get in the boat and set the hook about 20 times, and you'll be set.
Yeah, and like I said, I would love it. So next time you go, just let me know. I mean, I'm not doing much. I mean, I could take pictures, and I can.
You can run the TikTok.
Yeah, I'll run your TikTok for you, and I can back a boat down. I can do all that stuff. So, man, I got to tell you, it's exciting for me to watch like local people. Obviously, being a local guy who won a giant show like I did,
right?
Watching local people that you've known a long time and known of a long time, be successful at something kind of out of the ordinary. There's not a lot of professional fishermen from the Kansas City area. I don't know too many.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And for you, to be a professional fisherman and to have won the tournaments, and whether it's a bass tournament or a crappie tournament, I mean, that's a big deal, and it's really cool. At least I think it's really cool. I mean, I might be the only one, but I think it's, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's kind of cool, man, to know that, hey, this guy is making it. He's doing what he does, and he's really, really good at it. And like I said, it's just cool, and to say, yeah, I know, I got a pro fisherman guy, I know this guy, you know what I mean? It's kind of, not name dropping, but it's pretty cool when you see people doing well in what they do.
Absolutely.
Especially, I mean, sure, there's a ton of great lawyers in town and doctors in town and all that, not taking anything away from them. But fishing and hunting and the outdoor world or the entertainment, the music business, it's just not a lot of us. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of people that do kind of different things, so it's pretty awesome, man. For guys from this area to be really known for doing something that not a lot of people do, or not a lot of people can. Here's the thing: everybody can fish. I can grab a fishing pole. I can go get a Zebco 33, put something put a hot dog on the end of it, and I'm gonna catch a fish. It might not be a giant bass. It might be a bluegill, but I'm gonna catch a fish. You know what I mean? My dad, his theory was, we put too much emphasis on what we're throwing at these fish. He's like, this, you don't need any kind of different pole. You need this one with this kind of reel on it, and you can throw a live minnow, and you're going to catch a ton of fish.
That's true.
And
that's true.
Yeah, and we did, and we caught a ton of fish. But now is it as fun as, like I said, throwing a swim jig up in some heavy cover? Banging it off logs and then letting one of those big old female largemouth just crush it? Not a chance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I like doing things like that. For me, that's kind of fishing. That's, fishing. Yeah, sure, you can dumb it down. You can put some stink bait on a treble hook and throw it out in the middle of a body of water.
I think that's what's exciting about fishing is that anyone can do it, and there's no wrong way to do it. If you're fishing, you're not doing it wrong. You know what I mean? You're not. You're fishing.
Yeah.
So, and there's people that fish from the bank love it as much as I do. I just take it to an extreme, and I just want the next bite. And so today I shot a YouTube video by myself. I have a YouTube channel, and I'm shooting a video, and it was ridiculous how many times I changed my lure trying to make them bite better than they already were. It's bizarre. They just stop and catch the fish. But I kept thinking there'd be something better. But I mean, it was still an amazing day.
Now,
I think that's the difference between myself and weekend anglers for sure.
Yeah. Now, okay. So let's say if I get in the boat and we go to who cares what lake, name a lake. We go in there and we're crappie fishing. When you pull up and the water's just kind of murky, it's not a lot of visibility. Are crappie more like bass where, you need to throw something a little flashier at them or something that might make a little more noise? I mean, depending on the time of year, obviously that helps, pre-spawn, post-spawn kind of thing when they're more aggressive or when they're not. But in general, does color, do you find a color that works kind of everywhere in all kinds of water? Or is it like bass fishing where you got to change just to kind of?
It's like bass fishing. Like today, they're a crappie, and I'm catching these fish today 20 foot down in 30 foot of water. You wouldn't think they'd see it, and the live scope, you could tell these fish only wanted this specific color that I had. So it's bizarre. I think with live scope and the technology we have now, you can tell what the fish want. You can tell by their body, by the way they react to the lure. It is insane what we're seeing with this technology that's out. So every day's different. Every lake's different, honestly.
Right. So have you found one color like what do they call that? Tiger something, tiger burst or whatever they call it. It's kind of
the fire tiger, the crankbait.
Yeah.
No, I don't have just one color that I would tie on. I mean, everyone asks me when I'm crappie fishing, what's my favorite color? It's whatever color the last crappie came on, whatever the heck that might be, right? That's
right.
it. That's the best one for that time.
Well, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, I have 5 rods out all the time, and all 5 have different color lead heads and different color baits on all 5 of them, and I'm throwing all 5 until I actually get a hit. That's what I do.
So before live scope, you were spider fishing, right?
We would do a lot of the vertical jigging. We weren't big on the spider rigging. We won 2 major tournament spider rigging because you had to.
Right.
But our claim to fame, the way we won all these terms across the country, is we were really run and gun style crappie fishermen, where we used that long pole and we would fish the visible timber you could see in the lake. I'd fish one side, Dad would fish the other. We'd both stand up all day long, and we'd actually go as fast as humanly possible. We actually crappie fished more like a bass guy than a crappie guy before live scope. And we would throw those jigs down the side of those trees looking for that reaction bite, looking for those hungry crappie is what we were doing. That was our claim to fame, actually.
Well, that's cool. I mean, like I said, whatever works, right? I mean, you got to win whatever works. So you start in March, right? The bass tournament, you're going to start in March.
Yeah.
Start that tour. And there's 6 spots. Is there 6 stops? Is that what you said?
There's 6 spots. Yep.
Man.
Yep.
So what do you think? I mean, obviously you want to win. You want to win at least winning one would be awesome, but you want to win.
Oh my goodness!
So how does this work? So let's say you place in the top. Let's say you place in the top 5 in all of them. Is there like a championship kind of thing where you fish?
Yeah.
Or is it
there's a classic? Yeah,
okay.
There's a classic at the end of the year for the top 25 anglers.
Nice.
There's an angler of the year. Yeah. So
nice.
But I mean, for me, switching over to this bass side, it's gonna be challenging. It's gonna challenge me to really dig deep and try to find these guys are serious. I mean, it's a $5,000 entry fee. What I'm honestly looking, 36th place pays 10 grand in this tournament. So if I can be 36 to first, anywhere in there, I'm going to be pleased. That's what I'm going to be.
You're going to be good.
I'm going to be good. Yep. Yeah.
Well, okay. So we talked about Jinko, obviously sponsoring the whole crappie side of your thing. Do you have any bass sponsorships right now? Do you have anybody who's like, Kevin, use our poles, use our reels, use our baits, or is it just kind of?
I do. They kind of cross over. I'm going to use Jinko bass rods. Now, I don't have my own bass rod. I haven't proven myself in the bass world, but I'm going to use their rods.
Right.
Dia was my reel company, and every sponsor that I had prior to switching to bass, they're all staying with me, right? So Parapole, Mercury, Bass Cat, AFCO, Freshwater. None of them said, "Oh my gosh, you're going bass fishing, we're going to drop you." So none of that happened.
Well, that's awesome.
So, yeah, I've got the Bass Tank as my title sponsor. They're the number one Garmin installer and rep in the country. They're out of Oklahoma. They wrap my boat. They pay for my tournaments. So they're my number one title sponsor, if you will.
Right.
And I've got smaller companies from there, but Midwest Marine in Harrisonville, they've been great to me.
Yeah.
And not only is he my dealer, but he's my neighbor.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Yeah, nice.
I get a new boat every year, and I just come home and it's sitting in my driveway, and my wife will send me a text going, "What the heck is this?" I have no idea what that is, but let's use it. So
that's Papa's new toy.
That's right. So I haven't gained any new sponsors because of the bass fishing, but I didn't lose any of my other ones. And like I said, it's such a crazy world in this outdoor world now, especially in fishing.
Right.
Social media is a powerful tool, and these people really care about how many times you post a week, how many Instagram posts you do, and what kind of following you have, and then doing good and be able to speak and sell their products. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Now, do you have any shows, like any fish show? How they do a product show, kind of like the shot show or stuff like that. Are you going to go do that kind of stuff?
Here's what's crazy. Yeah, I would before COVID, I was doing 10 to 12 seminars a year where I'd actually speak.
Oh, wow.
Speaking engagements. But all that's been shut down.
Right.
The biggest shot show in the world is called ICAST, and it was in July every year, where the new products come out for the following fishing year. And actually, it was just all virtual this year. I don't know what they're going to do. So right now, I haven't had any of that. It's just been all podcast, and all podcasts is all I've done, really.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like I said, hopefully everything kind of switches back to life as we knew it, pre-COVID, you know what I mean? Because we're losing the personal touch with kind of everything. I mean, not just, work and entertainment and all that. Like you said, you haven't had a speaking engagement since COVID. So it's
right.
I mean, people need that. Not only the consumer like I am, but the anglers need that. I mean, I think it keeps you fresh. It keeps you on people's mind, kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And I think a lot of people are struggling right now. With the isolation, we're so isolated from everybody. Like these Zoom, I would never do this Zoom thing. No, I mean it. I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like, how many people are going to come over to my house, for one?
Sure.
How many people want to come into someone's house and hang out for an hour or two or whatever it is, and then be exposed to whatever I expose them to? Or I don't want you to come in and expose me to whatever you've been exposed to. You know what I mean?
It's
we're
rough time.
Yeah, man, for everybody. And like I said, hopefully we get back to the way, at least some part of normalcy soon. I'm hoping by summer. I'm hoping by summertime we're kind of back to being us and doing what we love to do, as far as going to football games or baseball games or concerts or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my wife and I, we are huge concert people. If there's a concert in Kansas City, we're at it.
Right.
And not hearing live music, and it's been, I don't know, it's almost depressing, to be honest with you. It's been weird.
Absolutely it is. So
yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's okay, so we've talked the crappie game. We're talking the bass game right now. Smallmouth bass, I love catching them. Love catching smalls. To me, they're a lot harder species to catch than a largemouth or a black, or you know what I mean. To me, they fight immensely, like they are literally fighting for their life.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, it's crazy. What has been the hardest thing? Because to me, it's a lot harder to fish for smallmouth than it is for largemouth. I mean, they're more finicky, I think. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. They could be, not. But maybe it's the bait I'm throwing or how I'm fishing it. But it's, to me, they've always been more elusive to catch, if that's the right word.
I think and for me, switching over, they just live differently.
Right.
If you see some cattails and some awesome lily pads, and there's going to be a largemouth in there.
Yep.
Yeah, but there may not be a smallmouth within a mile. That's what I mean. And these smallmouth, they seem to spawn out on the flats and not anywhere near the bank. Now, I'm not saying they won't spawn on the bank, but when you see these guys on TV catching these giant stringers, if you watch Mark Zoner or whoever they're not on the bank. They're out deep offshore. They could be miles offshore. I went to Mille Lacs Lake up in Minnesota this year and caught giant smallmouth. And I mean, it's 14 miles across. It was like fishing the ocean. Without the electronics and the mapping system, I would have caught zero. But I mean,
right.
They were out there 10 miles offshore. And once you found them, the hardest part was finding them. Once you found them, they were easy to catch. But finding them was the hard part.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of guys drop shot. They seem to be that's a technique that a lot of guys use to catch smallmouth is drop shot. And I guess I haven't perfected that yet. And for whatever reason, I've never caught not a fish drop shot fishing. It's a different technique for me, but
for your smallmouth, I mean, just to keep it simple and catch giants is the silly Ned rig. It is a powerful, powerful tool. And that's how I caught every one of the. I think I caught 10 5-pound smallmouth this summer, and every single one of them was on a Ned rig. So it was just very simple fishing, but it's still very powerful for the smallmouth.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I mean, I'm in. So whenever you want to go, just let me know.
We got to.
I'm definitely excited about that. For me, it's literally. And I told your dad, I said, Charlie, I want to learn. I want to learn to be a better fisherman. I want to be able to go out, grab a bait caster, whiz it out there, 30, 40 yards or feet or whatever I want to throw it, or pitch it under a dock or whatever I'm doing. And I want to be confident in the bait I'm using, because obviously that's a big deal. You got to be confident in what you're throwing and your gear, your rig that you're using. It's almost like it'd be, I need to be taught, kind of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
that makes sense.
Erase everything that I know about fishing, kind of, and just go out with somebody who can really fish and knows. Look, when you're in the water, this is what you're going to look for. Pre-spawn, they're going to be more up here. Post-spawn, they're going to be out here a little deeper or whatever, whatever you're fishing for. And fish with somebody who's like, no, don't do that. You're working that crankbait a little too fast. Let it set. They're going to bite it on the down, or whatever. That's the kind of stuff that I want to do. I want to go out with somebody who can really fish and just go, look, man, here, this is what I'm going to rig this up and throw it over there and reel it this fast, or, pop it this way, or, you know what I mean? Just
absolutely.
And learn, because I think a lot of times, for me, again, like I said before, I get all amped up and I'm freaked out because, I can't see the fish. When I'm deer hunting, I can see what's around me. And I can see that deer's coming, that buck's coming, or that doe's coming in. I know my windows of opportunity. I'm more relaxed, Now, if it's a giant buck, then, you kind of get freaked out. You get all buck fever and all that. It's hard to draw your bow or whatever. But it's, for fishing, I can't see them. I don't see them. So I'm just, fishing blind, obviously. So you're out there just praying that there's a fish in this area. You think there's a fish. And with live scope, obviously that helps even bass fishing, because you can see them laying up underneath a dock or around a hedgerow, an old, sunken hedgerow or something. So, but even seeing them flipping up in there or casting over to them, it's, again, I'm waiting, that and anticipation, and I get all, I'm exhausted if I, whether I catch 100 fish or one fish, I'm as wore out with one as I am 100 because I'm just.
Well, you need to be wore out catching. You need to be wore out catching 100 because that's why you're there. So we need to get you. We need to get you to catching.
Yeah, exactly,
sure.
Exactly.
I mean, this spring, I mean, Truman Lake turned into an amazing bass fishery because of all the floods it's had. We need to get you down to Truman this year. We don't even have to use live scope. We can turn a live scope off and go bass fishing at Truman Lake, and it'll be an amazing experience. I promise you.
Oh, for sure.
So
man.
we need to do that.
You just tell me what I need to do and what I need to bring, and we'll go down there and throw down.
Yeah, the funnest part for me going I have the confidence. I'm like you. I throw something out there and I'm pissed when it comes back. There's not a fish on it, right? Because it's supposed to bite every time.
Oh,
but that doesn't happen. But the fun part for me is unlocking. It's a big jigsaw puzzle. The whole lake is a jigsaw puzzle, and putting that thing together in the day. When I get off the lake and I go, wow, okay, I figured it out a little bit. Right. That's success to me when you can unlock the lake like that.
Oh, sure. It's a win.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah, it's definitely.
If you can, I figure out they're over here today. They're in this channel. They're on this creek, or whatever, and they're on this point. It's a sandy gravel point, and that's where they're at today. You figured that out. Yeah, that's a win right there. If you're catching fish,
absolutely.
So, but yeah, man, like I said, we got to get out and do that. I'm all in. Just let me know when I can clear my. In fact, let me check my schedule now. Yep, I'm free. So that's
I love it. Love it.
Just let me know.
Then,
I will say one thing though. I know how it is having a co-angler in the boat. All right. I mean, I get it. I'll stand on the back. It's fine. I don't have to.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When someone's in the boat with me, I'll be offended if that person is not catching fish. I'll put my rod down and you can fish. That's how I enjoy that as much. I like seeing the joy at other people catch the fish just because I want them to love something that I love too. So I enjoy taking people fishing, and I love seeing them catch fish for sure.
Well, I got to get you bow hunting, and so you need to start shooting a bow. We'll get you a bow, and then we'll go bow hunting. In the wintertime when it's real cold, after you're done catching bass, we'll go hunting some big game.
Love it. Would love to. For
All
sure.
right, man. Well, I appreciate you being there. Just being on, and I want to hit your sponsors, man. Let's make sure that we give them some love, and so obviously Jinko is a sponsor. So just rattle off your sponsors and let's give them some love.
Yeah, Midwest Marines and Bass Cat, Mercury, Power Pole, the Bass Tank. Like you said, Jinko's a big sponsor of mine. AFCO Freshwater, they're definitely involved. They make amazing outdoor wear. There's nothing worse than going fishing or hunting and being soaking wet. So they make outstanding rain gear. That's one of the most important pieces of fishing for me. I start every day with bibs on, whether it's raining or not. I just do because the boat is always wet, and the last thing you want to do is sit down on a wet seat and have a wet butt all day. So I put bibs on every single morning. That's how I start my day. They're a big part of it. I mean, that's the title sponsors. My wife, she's the biggest sponsor. She's what allows me to go fishing. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it just that's about it. So
all right, good.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, it's been fun. Man. I hope.
I got a YouTube channel that I just started. I had a YouTube channel with Bobby Garland. I actually had a Bobby Garland TV that I was the host of on YouTube for years. And when I quit Bobby Garland, I left. I didn't have YouTube for a couple of years. And I had over 500 private messages on my Facebook page begging me to start a YouTube channel so people could learn about crappie fishing. So I started that back up. It's Kevin Rogers Fishing on YouTube. And I'm just trying to teach people how to crappie fish and showing them that they can go do it too. So that's out there. And I got Kevin Rogers Fishing on Facebook and then Kevin Rogers 5 on Instagram. That's where you can follow me. And I love seeing and posting outdoor photos of giant fish and deer and everything else.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, dude, let's make this happen. I'm excited about it.
Bet.
I'll in fact, I have an AFCO sweatshirt I got the Reaper sweatshirt.
Oh, they're all.
I love it. I love it. The built-in face mask thing. I need the camo one. I need to get the camo one because that'd be great early season. Wearing the camo hoodie into the woods. For me, that'd be great. So I need to get that one. But dude, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
And we'll definitely have to do this again after we go fishing. We'll talk about all the fish we caught. And
absolutely,
and all that. So, all right, Kevin Rogers, go check him out YouTube. And just like I said, the guy is a fishing. He's just a fish magnet, I guess is a good word, a good phrase to call him.
Fish magnet, I love
it. We couldn't be a fish magnet, but anyway, I'm not anything magnet. I'm a food magnet. I get weight magnet. I look at food and gain weight, so that's what happens to me. Anyway, man, again, thank you, sir, for being on and hanging out with us.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, listen, that was Kevin Rogers, my buddy. Now, we want to go back here just a second. We wanted to bring this out a couple weeks ago when we recorded it, but had a little technical difficulty, so we couldn't get it out after we recorded it. So it's coming out now, a few weeks late, but it's out.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. So anyway, go check Kevin out, man. He literally is one of the best fishermen I know for sure, and super excited for him to start doing the bass tour with his the new bass league that they have. That's awesome for him, and definitely going to follow him on his journey with his new bass tour thing he's doing. So, I just bought a boat last year. And so I'm a new boat owner.
You got a truck to pull it?
I do. My wife bought me a truck, and then she bought me a boat to pull it. Or no, that's my truck. Anyway, so I don't know, however that works. Anyway, we bought a boat last year, and having a great time in it. Bought a Ranger boat, love it, and just learning to be a fisherman again. I can fish from the bank pretty well, but being out on the water, learning, navigating the waters and covering water is new, but it's fun. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So, I mean, growing up fishing out of my dad's boat, we fished out of a boat. He had a fishing boat. How many times can I say boat in 5 minutes?
Had a boat.
He had a fishing boat. Anyway, we would fish on the lake and stuff, and it was great. After that, he sold it, and just kind of farm pond fishing from there for me, which I love doing. Farm pond fishing is some of the most fun fishing that I've done so far. And you can catch crappie and bass and catfish and all kinds of stuff.
So what's your process when you go fishing? Do you go fishing usually by yourself?
No, I don't. It's usually Hayden. Me and Hayden or a buddy, Pooch comes out, or my nephew Braden will go out and fish. I just don't go by myself. I'll go hunting by myself sometimes. I don't even like to do that.
Really?
Yeah, because if something bad happens and you're in the woods by yourself, and no one, my wife will know or somebody will know. I'll tell somebody, hey, I'm going to go sit in this tree stand or this area of the property.
They'll know after a while, I guess.
Right. So it's not smart. I don't think it's smart to go hunting or fishing by yourself. If something bad happens, and you need somebody, you're just kind of out there by yourself. So
yeah.
And your phone mine doesn't always work anyway in at the properties and stuff. So I don't like doing it. But my thing is just going out and especially when we're pond fishing, just going out and throwing as many things in there as I can to try to catch whatever we can catch.
Yeah.
So, but back when I was a little kid, using worms,
Oh yeah.
Worms and bobbers, that was catching bluegill and a lot of different brim kind of fish, and that was fun. But I don't know. Do you like to fish? Are you a big fisher guy?
I haven't been fishing in quite a long time.
Right.
I used to go by myself a lot.
Right. I didn't have many friends. So.
No, just to get out of town.
Right.
Which, if this tells you kind of dates back then, I used to have my CD Walkman.
Oh yeah.
Put the old headphones on, and I just get me a lot. Back then, I had a 1990 Dodge Dakota, and I'd pull that up at there was a spot out at Longview where I could back my truck right up to the lake, and just sit on the tailgate
and
fish. Yeah, have my headphones in, just
that's good.
Just
That's
doing my
good
thing.
stuff, man. Oh yeah. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, go check out Kevin, man. He's a great fisherman, great guy, and he's a lot of fun. I can't wait to go fishing with him. So yeah. All right, guys, make sure you guys are leaving reviews. We've seen some reviews on Facebook and stuff like that where, just listen to the podcast. It's great, and that's awesome, and we appreciate all that, but we need you to go to wherever you listen, whether it's Apple or Podbean or wherever you listen to our podcast, and leave the review there.
Yes.
And give it a 5-star rating.
Yes.
And subscribe, and, tell all your friends about it, and have them subscribe and leave a review, even if they didn't like it. Tell them to leave a great review. I don't care.
You don't have to listen to it. Just leave a review.
I don't even know what they were talking about, but it was great. How about that? So
those reviews are like currency for podcasts.
Absolutely.
It's like the more reviews and the more 5-star ratings you get, the better you are on the charts, the better, the more guests you get, and whatever.
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do. We don't want to work a real job. We just want to do this. We just want to podcast.
Dude, if I could do this for a living, I'd be pretty happy. I'm enjoying it so far.
Here's the deal. I'm doing it for a living right now, apparently, because music is not. We're not really playing music right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, guys, remember, like it, subscribe, tell all your friends, make sure they leave a review, give us a 5-star rating. And questions and comments and all that stuff. We want that.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. I mean, if you didn't like something, that's fine. Tell me. We got to get better. That's what we're here for. We're trying to get better, and give you guys content that you want to listen to. We're having fun. So like I say when I'm on stage sometimes, if you're not having fun, it's your own damn fault, because I'm having a great time. So anyway, like I said, guys, we'll see you next week, and be good.
Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Want to ask a question for a future episode? Well, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter with #SweetLifePodcast. And be sure to give us a 5-star rating and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stay up to date on the latest news and information for the Sweet Life Podcast. And we'll see you next time.